Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. Welcome to the LACNETS webinar, Thriving with NET, How Health and Wellness Coaching Can Help You. I'm Lindsay Judovine. I'm the Director of Communications for LACNETS, and this is...
I'm Leeann. I'm the Program Director for LACNETS.
We would like to extend a special thank you to Rich at TVP Live for making this high-quality production and program possible. So thank you, Rich. Before we begin today, I'd like to share a few tech tips for you. Number one, audio. Be sure the volume on your computer is turned up and it's unmuted. And then also double check that the volume is unmuted on the webinar broadcast screen. This is super important as well. As for video, you can enlarge the webinar broadcast screen by clicking the expand screen button in the bottom right corner of this broadcast. And then also remember that the full webinar video will be posted on the LACNETS YouTube channel within the next few days for your viewing. And the link to that is bit.ly/LACNETS YouTube. It's right there on the screen. And then here's a little screenshot of our YouTube channel. We have 100+ net videos, a huge net video library. So please go check it out when you have time. And then I'd like to pass it off to Lisa.
Thank you, Lindsay. We want to extend a special welcome to those of you who are joining us for the very first time and tell you a bit about who we are as LACNETS. So LACNETS stands for the Los Angeles Carcinoid Neuroendocrine Tumor Society. I know that's a lot of words. And the LACNETS team includes Donna Gavin, who's a board member, Lindsay Judovine, who you met, the Director of Communication, Kavya Velagapudi, who's the Interim Administrator and board member, and myself. LACNETS is a Los Angeles-based neuroendocrine cancer advocacy group with a local and a global reach that was initially founded in 2012 by Giovanna, Joyce, and Basie with a mission of providing support, education, and advocacy for all people impacted by this rare disease that used to be known as carcinoid, an old term for what is now called neuroendocrine cancer, neuroendocrine tumor, or NET. For those less familiar with the disease, it was made famous by Steve Jobs and Aretha Franklin, who both had lived with NET for many years. It's a type of cancer where people often experience delays in being diagnosed for many years, on average 5 to 9 years, according to some studies. So at the time of diagnosis, the cancer is often metastatic. It's a type of cancer that is not curable, but it is treatable. And because it tends to be slow growing, people can live with it for many, many years as a chronic disease with appropriate treatment. Unlike other types of cancer, there isn't a clear treatment algorithm or pathway. As Dr. Eric Liu mentioned in last month's webinar, the NET cancer journey often looks much more like a spider web than a straight line. So there's often a huge need for education, advocacy, and support through the ups and downs of living with NET. One way LACNETS strives to provide education, advocacy, and support is by voicing the patient's perspective in collaborative dialogue with healthcare professionals. We have a robust program that includes monthly educational meetings, which have always been live broadcasted and recorded, but now are solely webinars due to COVID. We also have an annual patient education conference every year in June that was done virtually this year. And again, as Lindsay mentioned, you can view those videos on our LACNETS YouTube channel. All videos of our past educational meetings, webinars, and conferences can be viewed on our YouTube channel. So we encourage you to check out our YouTube channel and remember to like and subscribe. We're excited to share with you our educational webinars for the rest of 2020. In September, we're honored to welcome Dr. Edward Wolin, medical oncologist and director of the Center for Carcinoid and Neuroendocrine Tumors at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City. Dr. Wolin was the inaugural speaker of the LACNETS Patient Educational Speaker Series with the launch of LACNETS back in 2012. Dr. Wolever worked closely with our founder and executive director emeritus, Giovanna Joyce Mbasi, as a featured speaker for many of the monthly meetings and our annual patient education conferences. He's well known to many in our community. In October, our speaker will be Dr. Shirley Paskey, gastroenterologist from Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, who will discuss one of the most commonly talked about topics in the NET patient community, diarrhea. It's a common symptom that many NET patients struggle with that affects their day-to-day lives. We hope that this educational webinar might help. And be sure to mark your calendars for our virtual NET Cancer Day Symposium on November 7th, 2020. This is a special half-day event featuring NET experts including Dr. Dan Lee from City of Hope, Dr. Sandy Kotai from Mercy Medical, Dr. Jadira Del Rivero from the NIH, and Dr. Banerjee from City of Hope. You'll also hear stories from NET patients and our caregivers. Our December speaker is Chaplain Michael Echelon from the UCLA Sims-Mann Center for Integrative Oncology. He's well known to us as he was also a speaker in our December 2019 meeting. He's given several TED Talks, and it's a real treat to have him as our guest. I always love hearing from him and appreciate his stories and insights. We have many ways we support our NET patient community, including our weekly support groups via Zoom on Wednesdays at noon. This has been a special time to connect with other NET patients and caregivers in order to share our experiences and learn from each other. We now have a helpful how-to video for those who are new to Zoom that can be emailed to you after registering for our meeting or can be viewed on our YouTube channel. For caregivers, we have a special caregiver-only support group that meets virtually via Zoom. And this is a special place for NET caregivers to share each other's experiences and support each other. This is led by Dr. Banerjee from City of Hope, who's a palliative care physician, and we meet the last Saturday of every month. We also have a buddy system called NET Connect, where we can connect you with someone else along your journey for peer support. Some people might reach out to connect with someone else who has had a certain type of treatment or surgery that your doctor has suggested for you. Others might want to talk to someone else with the same type of NET. Or you might just be looking for help on filling out NET Vitals. For more information, please contact us. And we're very proud to have developed NET Vitals, a patient and physician communication tool. It's a downloadable 20-question communication tool that highlights the vitals of your NET cancer. And these are the most important things that your NET expert wants to know when you see them for an appointment. You can download it and fill it out before your consultation with your NET expert to help you get on the same page in terms of terminology and getting to know your disease. Filling out your NET Vitals as homework to prepare for your appointment can be empowering as you learn to speak NET and know the details of your own disease. It also makes your appointment more efficient. The time is better spent because it prepares you to ask smarter questions, such as questions that may have come up when filling out your NET Vitals. And instead of spending your appointment defining NET terminology, you can then spend more time talking about treatment and how to improve your quality of life. Okay, back to you, Lindsay.
Thanks, Lisa. We also wanted to remind you that we have an excellent blog post on the LACNETS website. So if you go to lacnets.org/blog, you can check that out. And then also we have NET quizzes available on the website. And that is also found at lacnets.org/NET quizzes. And then with patient advocacy groups, it's a very important source of NET news and resources. So we really encourage you to sign up for our newsletter and follow us on our social media. Our social media is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube channel, as we mentioned before. It's at LACNETS. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter that way. And I'll let you take it away from here, Lisa, to explain why we are talking about this topic of health coaching today.
As I'm sure many of you can relate, one of the biggest things that comes from being personally affected by NET is that it brings perspective. When my husband was diagnosed with NET, my world was also turned upside down. As his wife and partner in this journey, this isn't just his journey, it's our journey. And it completely changed my life in many ways. One major life change was that I made the intentional decision to leave my job and career as a nurse practitioner in hospital medicine. My focus became crystal clear. I was fully committed to walking alongside my husband in his NET journey and to help him and myself live and be well. And this meant not just physical health and well-being, but overall to thrive by being able to enjoy the things that mattered most. It's my passion and dream to help others in the NET community, not just with education, support, and advocacy, but also to thrive as whole beings. I really like what NET patient and advocate Ronnie Allen says. Adding life to years is as important as adding years to life. In other words, as we fight to add days to our lives, let's not forget about adding life to our days. It's really about quality of life. And we know that as those affected by NET. So to this end, about 2 years ago, LACNETS generously supported the launch of a health coaching program specifically for those affected by NET, meaning those living with the disease or partnering in their journey, perhaps as a spouse, child, parent, or other caregiver. Through this program, we have seen people thrive while living with NET, and we, as LACNETS and the LACNETS Health Coaching team, have been incredibly blessed and inspired by this program as well. So we're excited to share this with you today. Today, you'll have the opportunity to hear from a NET patient who has benefited from health coaching through LACNETS. You'll get to know our health coaches through a panel discussion with them. And finally, you'll get a taste of some of the experiential activities we might use as part of health coaching that you could do on your own. Just as a point of clarification, that throughout the webinar, you'll hear us refer to health and wellness coaching as health coaching for simplicity, and we use both terms interchangeably.
Hi, my name is Vivian Perez, and I live in the city of Placentia in Southern California. In October of 2018, I was diagnosed with neuroendocrine lung cancer, a big surprise to me. More importantly, the first reaction I had was, I can't get cancer. I'm too healthy, I'm too busy. But life serves some interesting dishes to you as you're going about your life.
After her surgery, when the doctor came out and said, okay, everything, we had to remove the bottom lobe, and he said everything was fine. When she got released out of the hospital, and with the follow-up visits, even when she came home, she was silent. She wasn't herself, okay, and opening up, trying to get information. It was a different feeling, like how do you get the information out of her? And we tried different things.
With the help of great doctors and family, I was able to acquire assistance by joining and receiving support from LACNET. And LACNET, based here in Los Angeles, was able to provide me with a program that was crucial to my well-being and carrying me through this cancer journey. And Lisa, the director of programs, suggested that I try health coaching because I shared with her in a one-on-one conversation that I just was going through the motions, that I was exhausted and overwhelmed, and that I served no purpose to anybody, my family, my friends, and especially my community. I didn't know what health coaching was, and so my expectations were kind of open. I didn't know what they were going to talk about, what direction, who was going to be my coach, and surprisingly, Julie was matched up with me, so to speak, and I had an opportunity of a lifetime. Not many people get an opportunity to put in an additional investment in your life. we discovered in reviewing the 9 aspects of your life or your health that there were 2 that were outstanding and that were making a big impact, a negative impact in my life. And one of the aspects was I wasn't getting enough rest. So we concentrated on that first. She was able to give me a schedule. She was able to have me think about what I needed to go to sleep. And I've been able to do that with no supplements, no additional help other than to get into the right frame of mind. We developed a plan. And basically what we did was that I thought about when to stop doing things around the house, when to have quiet time, when to read, which is one way of my relaxing, getting into the sleep mode. And it has worked. I've been able to acquire that rest. I'm able to function and not just go through the motions.
I'm thankful for the program because it basically, Vivian is pretty much back to herself, which is let's go, let's move, let's do everything, okay, like she used to be. It basically brings the person back into the reality of regular life.
Health coaching, and all the credit goes to Julie, my health coach, has served a wonderful purpose in my life and in my cancer journey. I've been able to acquire skills that give me rest and peace of mind, been able to serve my placentia community with renewed energy and focus, that I'm not having to say no at the right time. Sometimes I take on a little too much, and I've learned the word no, N-O, because of the fact that I have to retain my quality of life. And believe me, this cancer journey that I'm on, it's not a race, it's a marathon. And it continues every day, because to be real honest with you, sometimes I forget I'm sick. And I hope that happens more often than not, because what happens is people look at me and they say, "You're sick?" I said, "Yeah, I am. I have cancer." So yes, I would definitely recommend very strongly that anybody who wants to continue with a high quality of life take advantage of health coaching.
I'm really pleased and honored to have 4 special guests here today. We have 3 of our LACNETS health coaches and our program advisor and mentor. First, we have Leeann Hayes, calling from Nashville, Tennessee. She's a former nurse and a current LACNETS health coach and a board-certified health and wellness coach. Next, we have Julie Oijala, calling from Texas. She's also a nurse and a current LACNETS health coach. Next, we have Katherine Smith, calling from Maryland. She's a mindfulness instructor and a health and wellness coach for LACNETS. And last but not least, we have Ruth Wolever, Dr. Ruth Wolever, who's our program advisor mentor, and who we had the honor, all 4 of us had the honor of training under Ruth. So we have this really special panel of guests, and I'm really excited to have them all share with you from their own expertise. So I'd like to invite each of them to share a little bit about their background, their involvement in health coaching and in LACNETS. And we'll first start with Leeann.
Okay, so my background was in nursing, and I spent several years working at Vanderbilt Medical University here in D.C. And I worked with neurology, neurosurgery, and neurointensive care. I spent a few years in the pharmaceutical industry, and then I was at home with my kids. And so when I was looking back to get back to work, health coaching was the perfect fit for me. And I had been working with LACNETS for 2 years now.
Thanks, Leeann. Julie, if you would share a bit about your background and your involvement with health coaching and LACNETS. as well.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, so my education is in nursing. Through that, I've been able to practice nursing in both the US and overseas in different settings in the hospital, in clinics and schools. Later, I spent some time working in the clinical research studies, and lastly, with health coaching. And I got into LACNETS during my health coaching practicum about 2 years ago. And when I was able to, or had the opportunity to coach a patient with neuroendocrine tumor, and started with the LACNETS health coaching team last year.
Thank you, Julie. Katherine, if you would share a bit about yourself as well.
Sure. Hi, I'm Katherine Smith, and I have a background in public health. I'm not a nurse, but Lisa still allowed me to join this group. I have a background in public health and about 25 years in the field of integrative medicine and health and wellness. I have been trained and taught mind-body skills at several different medical schools around the country. And about 5 years ago, I was hired to teach something called motivational interviewing at a university in Maryland to health coaching students. And I felt like if I was going to teach to health coaching students, I needed to know what health coaching was. So I went to school and got trained and got hooked.
Thank you, Katherine. And we have a special guest, Ruth. I'm really excited to hear from her because she is the reason all of us became health coaches. So Ruth, if you would share a bit about your background and your involvement in health coaching and LACNETS as well.
Thanks, Lisa. So I'm a clinical health psychologist by training and have been working in the field of health coaching since actually before it was a field. I've been very involved in helping to develop standards in it and show clarification in what coaching is compared to other service or therapeutic services. It's been incredible to work with these amazing women. They are so passionate and so dedicated to helping people grow and find their optimal selves. And that's what makes it fun for me.
Thanks, Ruth. And I'd love to invite you to share a bit about health coaching and what it is in general and how it's different from other types of coaching that's out there.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to do that is for me to share a story of our initial, what we call a proof of concept trial. So this was our initial study. This was done like 18 years ago. We had 154 patients that were at elevated risk for developing heart disease. It was a randomized controlled trial, tightly done trial at Duke in Durham. And the point of it was to see if we put people into coaching, would they do better in terms of 10-year risk of developing heart disease? What was fascinating is all of the participants in the health coaching arm did incredible. But what was fascinating was we called together at the end of the trial some press to hear a couple of the stories of some of the participants. So take Tony, for example, 54-year-old guy, been married for 28 years. During the health coaching, he lost about 8 pounds, dropped his cholesterol 24 points, and went off of his cholesterol medication. We were excited about his ability to change his meds. He was feeling so much better about himself. He had more energy. And the press asked him, how did you know you were successful from the coaching? And we were expecting him to say, well, I no longer take medication, or I lost weight, or this is what my cholesterol numbers are. But what he said was, I knew I was successful when I took my wife dancing for the first time in 25 years. It was so touching to hear the definition for him of what made him successful. Or take Dee Dee, who was another participant. Dee Dee lost 80 pounds across the program and afterwards. And 3 years later, when her coach touched base with her, she had still kept the weight off. And we were amazed at what she had done. And the press asked her, how did you know you were successful? And she said, I knew it when I could bend down and tie my shoe, and my boyfriend's eating vegetables. And we were, again, amazed because we were blown away by what she had done on a sort of scale, right? On the numbers scale. And we expected there to be these sort of reports of these medical indicators. But that's not what mattered, right? What mattered was the quality of life, the ability to bend down and tie a shoe, go out dancing, spend time doing something that was personally meaningful and that brought people joy. And it was in listening to the patients in this initial sort of proof of concept trial that made it so clear, wow, what actually differentiates coaching from other things is that people are able to move into this vision of who they want to be, find joy and find meaning, and make their day-to-day life so much more fulfilling. The thing that is different about health coaching versus other kinds of coaching is really where a person, a client, decides to focus. So in business coaching, for example, the focus is generally on some aspect of business, and the coach may be very knowledgeable about management or P&L sheets or some aspect of the business. In life coaching, there is generally a focus on some area of life that people want to improve. And in health coaching, there is generally a focus on some aspect of health that people want to improve. We use a very broad, a holistic definition of what health and well-being mean. And so life coaching and health coaching have a great deal of overlap. The difference is that health coaches also have expertise in a number of areas that have to do with health and well-being, in addition to understanding the methodology that's involved in helping a person figure out what they really want and set their vision and move toward a more fulfilling state of being, setting goals and then taking weekly action steps, moving in small increments towards what it is they've set for themselves to be successful.
Thank you, Ruth. That was a really helpful explanation. And I think what really resonates with me and the NEP community is this focus on quality of life, right? And what matters most. So it's not necessarily about the thing that a physician might care about, but it's really what matters most to us. Just wanted to echo that Ruth is a health psychologist, so she's done quite a bit of research on this area. So this is really based on clinical studies. And that's something I know we talk a lot about in the NET community, about things being based on research and having some validity behind it. So it's different from just a one-off for one person launching a field. And so we're really pleased to have trained under Ruth and have learned these skills under Ruth.
Sorry, I just wanted to add that the other thing that differentiates health coaching from life coaching or from aspects of executive coaching or business coaching is the science. So thank you for giving space for that. There have been a number of clinical trials at this point, and there is a rapidly evolving evidence base that clarifies not only what coaching is and isn't, but the outcomes in lots of different areas. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruth. And I know that you've done many of those trials and studies. So now I'd love to open this up for the other coaches to share a little bit about why they decided to become a health coach. So starting with Leeann, why did you decide to become a health coach? Or in other words, what does health coaching mean to you?
Sometimes I think health coaching chose me. I'm not really sure. I was in this field of nursing, which is a very special job to have, very, very meaningful. I had retired for a while and raised my kids, and they came to a point where they just really didn't need me so much anymore, and I was feeling like something was missing. And I just didn't have the desire to go back to that clinical, episodic, let's treat the symptom approach of medicine. I wanted something more. And I started doing some research and found health coaching. I had no experience with it at all. I kind of came in blindly, not even knowing what it was, thinking I'm just going to educate myself a little further, maybe a little hobby. And now it's just blossomed and bloomed, and I kind of feel like I've found my purpose and meaning in life.
Thank you, Leeann. And I know that the clients have been really blessed by you. The feedback we get is they love your energy, and we've seen your work, and you're just an amazing health coach. Julie, what about you? Why did you decide to become a health coach? And what does health coaching mean to you?
Thank you, Lisa. And thank you, Leeann, for your beautiful description. This is lovely to hear. I'm interested in people and their well-being. And I believe that's what brought me to health coaching. The caring, teaching, and health advocate aspects are what brought me to choose nursing in the first place, and also sparked my interest in health coaching. I also believe through inspiration from my family, friends, and environment, I continually find strength to help myself. And I want to coach others that they have it in them to do the same thing. Just a couple things about what health coach means to me through the experience I've had is it's a safe space for a client to explore what makes sense in their life in order to bring on sustainable behavior change. And it's an opportunity to learn and grow through experimenting with small steps at a time, and to believe in oneself. And I think good things start small and slow.
Small and slow. That's so beautiful, Julie. And I know that you and I really got to know each other through the program because we worked quite closely together when we were classmates going through the Vanderbilt program. Thank you for that. Katherine, I'd love to hear why you decided to become a health coach and what health coaching means to you.
Sure. And thank you, Julie. That was beautiful too. So I mentioned before that I sort of got into health coaching through the back door. I had been very interested in health and wellness for a long time and have learned mind, body, and stress management skills and taught that to many different populations. And I was hired to teach at a graduate school. It was a health and wellness coaching program. And I was teaching motivational interviewing, which is one of the techniques we use in health coaching, and decided that I would like to know more about what these students were being prepared for so I could best serve them. And went to a training and really, really liked it. I didn't feel quite equipped to go out and be a health coach. So I decided to do another training, and I did Ruth's program at Vanderbilt, which was just outstanding. And got hooked. So now I love being a health coach as well as teaching people who are becoming health coaches. And in terms of what it means to me, I love the fact that health coaching empowers people to find their own answers. It's not about me or the coach telling them what to do. And it's just, you never know what's going to happen at the beginning of a coaching session or where it's going to go. So it's very creative. It's very meaningful. And I love walking alongside people as they are finding their optimum health.
Yeah, it truly is an honor to be part of the journey and to witness that transformation. And for you, Ruth, not only are you a health coach, you trained all of us through the Vanderbilt program. Why did you become a health coach, and what does it mean to you?
Yeah, well, I'll piggyback off of Katherine's lovely answer. That process of empowering people is so incredibly fulfilling. And to be able to partner with somebody and see them get excited about what they're doing and see them own and feel their own autonomy, and then use it to create what they want, it's thrilling. It's just exciting. I love it. And that's one of the things that is so much fun about training coaches, because I think this work draws like-minded people who care a lot about empowerment, optimizing life, finding meaning, finding purpose, finding joy. And as you hear from, each of these amazing coaches, that's what their world is about. So it's infectious to be around their energy. So I would say a combination of seeing patients get excited about what they're doing, and then working with professionals who are excited about what they're doing because their clients are excited about what they're doing. The positive energy is just contagious.
Thanks, Ruth. I know not only are you a health coach and a health psychologist, you are a driving force behind this whole field and behind the whole process being recognized and certified with the National Board Certification that we now all share. So thank you for that and your work in this field. Okay, well, I'd like to move to the next question, which is really what made each of you want to help the NET community, especially despite the fact of not being personally affected by NET. So Leeann, what made you want to help the NET community?
Well, to be perfectly honest, despite my medical background, I had never heard of neuroendocrine cancer before. So Lisa is the one who educated and informed me about this rare cancer. And the reason I wanted to work in this community is because I've had my own cancer scare, though it wasn't like yours. I do understand how important it is to have some self-care in place to thrive through these challenging times in life.
Thanks, Leeann. And I know that you have a lot of compassion and empathy for this population. And Julie, what about you? What made you want to help the NET community?
Okay, well, two things come to mind. First, I believe that we are all connected. Also, no one knows when they might receive some news of a cancer diagnosis. I have a family member that has dealt with cancer, and it is scary news. I understand the caregiver role personally as well. I think we all want to thrive and deserve to thrive, no matter how hard the truth is of our life. And it's an honor to be able to serve the NET community in this way. This is a time in my life where I can give back. And secondly, I have seen the dedication and hard work put in by Lisa to make this a reality, and I think her enthusiasm is contagious.
Thank you for your kind words, Julie. And I know you and all of us care so much about this NET community. I know you and Leeann both flew out for the conference last year, and the plan was for everyone to fly out this year until COVID hit. So thank you for that. Katherine, what about you? I'd love to hear what made you decide to help the NET community.
Sure. So the common theme here is Lisa has been a part of why everyone's decided. So Lisa's enthusiasm. But also my mom had stage 4 breast cancer and it metastasized, and I watched her go through that experience. And then I watched her make the most of her life. And she ended up living for 6 more years, and she died of something completely unrelated to cancer. But going through that process, and I was very closely involved with it, I felt like this was something that I wanted to do, be involved with the NET community. And I don't think I had any idea when I said yes, how meaningful it would become, how important it is.
Thank you. That's beautiful. And Ruth, you are so incredibly busy, not only doing studies around this and being a driving force behind health coaching in general, but training so many medical professionals to become health coaches. So what makes you want to help the NET community?
Well, we're 4 for 4. Lisa had a lot to do with it. I think that the passion and the drive to help was just so palpable from you, Lisa. And then the joining forces of all these amazing women has just been really powerful. I mean, I respect this group of coaches so much, and it's really rewarding to be part of the work together. Then there's two other pieces. One is that, to me, the power of coaching isn't limited by a particular condition or diagnosis. And coaching hadn't been done in this community until a few years ago. So being able to explore and study and understand how it plays out with this unique group of people has been really, really interesting and helpful to the field, I believe. And then, interestingly, a very dear friend from college's sister, who was a law professor at Stanford, and has 2 young children, and she died from NETs a couple of years ago. And I was involved in the process, but I didn't even realize it was the same thing we were doing until about 6 months into working with this team. It was a very interesting connection. As Julie says, we're all connected. It's just not always apparent how.
Yes, we are all connected. Thank you for that, Ruth. And this is a different community, and yet, like you said, it's not limited to a certain condition or diagnosis. So really wondering from each of you, the next question is, how does health coaching or health and wellness coaching, so that's the HWC, how does health and wellness coaching look different for NET patients than non-NET patients? And Leeann, let's start with you.
Well, I guess the biggest difference is sometimes there's bigger hurdles and challenges and some unpredictability. So maybe a client has set a long-term health goal, and there may be a surgery that comes up in the middle of it. The similarities, though, is that coaching is unique, it's personal, it's personalized to each person, so we can work with these differences.
Thank you, Leeann. Julie, how would you answer this? How does it look different for NET patients?
Yeah, that was a big question when I thought about that. I think they may have an edge of seeing that every day is precious, and having that one day at a time mentality that is really so important for all of us. And another thing that comes to mind is their concern for the people around them and how their diagnosis affects these people around them. So they may be stressed about how their loved ones are coping. So I would come back to the importance of having an opportunity to talk about these things.
Yeah, it might look different because the perspective of the individual is different. Thank you for that, Julie. Katherine, how have you seen that health and wellness coaching looks different for NET patients?
Let's see. As Leeann said, there can sometimes be harder hurdles and challenges to overcome. When working with NET patients, we really have to respect how their body is feeling and what symptoms come up and what goes on as we go along, and not push too hard, but respect that. I think that with NET patients, we stay a little bit more in the now and in the present, which is such a gift, rather than looking way long-term down the road. And I think that NET patients all have so much courage, and they're inspiring, that they're just, they have a reservoir. I don't even know how to say it. They inspire me. They are very inspiring. They're very courageous, and we stick in the here and the now. How can we help optimize your life right now?
Thank you. That's beautiful. Ruth, I know you've seen the breadth and depth of research and the breadth and depth of health coaching out there. So how have you seen this look different for NET patients?
I think NET patients become unbelievably skillful at managing uncertainty and living in the present, as multiple coaches have said, but recognizing where we do and don't have control and really cultivating acceptance for things that it's wisest to accept and pushing for fulfillment and meaning and purpose and connection in places where we can exert more influence. And I just, story after story, hearing the work of this group, story after story is about people learning that amazing balance between acceptance and drive.
Beautiful. And that's really been a story or stories of resilience. Thank you. So I'm really wondering, the next question is, what have you gotten out of coaching NET patients or caregivers? So Leeann, let's start with you.
Wow, it's just been a real blessing to me to walk alongside this journey with someone. Some of these clients have been willing to share their lives with me, share their values. I get to know them at a deeper level, what their strengths are, and just getting to see them thrive despite fighting this cancer.
Thank you for that. Julie, what about you? What have you individually got out of coaching NET patients or caregivers?
I would say I've gotten from the NET community perspective, and just a reminder to enjoy today and take it one day at a time, and how beautifully they can do that. I see and respect and how to deal with a difficult illness and how much they've learned, and the family coming together and the beautiful stories they share.
And we saw that earlier with the testimonial that you heard from Vivian Perez and her husband. And Katherine, I know you shared a little bit already about being inspired by coaching NET patients or caregivers. What else have you gotten out of it?
I don't want to sound corny, but I definitely feel like love. I feel like there's a depth of relationship with my NET patients. I really care about them. I care about how they're doing. I'm sad when they're not doing well. There's just been there's a depth to my life. And I had no idea when I started doing this what they would come to mean to me.
Yeah. We're blessed too. Thank you for that, Katherine. That's beautiful. And Ruth, I know that you may not individually be coaching NET patients or caregivers. However, you mentored us and walked alongside us in the process. So I was wondering if there was anything else you would add to this.
Yes, for me, what I get from the NET community through this coaching community is hope. You watch 5 minutes of news, it's very easy to get discouraged about the state of the world, and then hear these incredible stories of the amazing things that individuals are doing to claim life and joy. And it is, it's inspiring, as Katherine said, but it brings me hope. That's what I get.
Thank you. That's so beautiful. And the next question is, what have your clients gotten out of health and wellness coaching? So Leeann, let's start with you.
Wow, that's a big question. It's really different for everybody. It could cover, one client has decreased their stress. Another client has gotten rid of her diabetes diagnosis and off of medications. Someone else may have improved a relationship with their husband. So it's just kind of all over the place. But I do think that everyone has made some progress. So I don't know that I could say that a single client was unsuccessful. It's just all very, very different.
Thank you, Leeann. Julie, what have your clients gotten out of it?
Well, I have a few comments that I gathered and I wanted to share, so I thought they were important. One was that gaining motivation by seeing how far they've come. So really looking back and being able to see their progress, giving them motivation to go forward. Meaningful self-discovery. So their needs into alignment to prioritize themselves and their health. And also health coaching helps tackle bigger issues, and that it's okay to take small bite-sized pieces at a time when reaching a goal.
Thank you, Julie. Katherine, what about you? What have you seen your clients get out of this?
Well, so the common denominator across all of them that they have expressed is that they have felt supported. They've really felt a sense of support from the health coaching. And then in terms of individual outcomes, as the other coaches said, it's different for everyone. I would say most of them end up pursuing something in their life that's really important to them. So I have one client who started pursuing her writing, another one who wanted to spend more time with music, a third one who really wanted to get back to work. So we focused on that. But all of them sort of come to pursue something that's really important to them in their life. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Katherine. And Ruth, again, I know that you may not be individually coaching NET patients or caregivers, and I'm just wondering if you have anything else to add from what you've seen from this process.
I think there's also a theme of self-efficacy, if you will, a theme of like knowing and respecting yourself, that clients end up either clarifying what they really want or feeling more supported and empowered to achieve it.
Thank you, Ruth. And I know that I had coached 11 or 12 NET patients as part of my practicum, and they clearly said that it didn't necessarily affect their health, their actual disease or disease process. And in fact, some of them continued to progress in their disease. However, because it changed their perspective, that made the world of a difference. And then they felt better able to cope and live with the disease because they had a different perspective. And so the last question is really if you have anything else to share with the NET community that might encourage or inspire them, or just anything in general. So Leeann, let's start with you.
I think I would encourage you to sign up for health coaching. It is a great way to give you some space to really, I like to call it thinking out loud. We have all these thoughts rolling in our head, things we want in our life, and we put them into words, share them with someone else. It's a little easier to move into action and make a reality. So we want to be here for you. We want to support you. So sign up.
Thanks, Leeann. Julie, what else would you like to share?
Yeah, just in addition to what Leeann said, I guess I could say that maybe people even around you might notice these subtle and inviting changes, and it promotes positivity.
I do think people do notice, because I had someone call me last week who's wanted to express that they noticed a difference with their person, their caregiver, being coached as well. So Katherine, what else would you like to share?
I think I just want to say, have your family members or your caregivers sign up too. That makes a big difference. And to caregivers, you are worth it, and the more well and healthy and happy you are, the more you're going to be able to help your loved one who is, has NET.
Thank you for that. And oftentimes the caregivers have said to me, I think all of them universally have expressed that they didn't want to take a spot away from someone living with NET, from a NET patient. And I've had to encourage them to say, actually, it's incredibly valuable for you too. And in fact, we have seen quite a bit of growth and difference in caregivers going through this, and quite a bit of value that extends beyond just the caregiver, that actually ends up helping the patients and those in the rest of the community as well. Ruth, what else would you like to share with the NET community?
Just gratitude, just an amazing community, and the support for each other, starting with Giovanna and with you, Lisa, just constantly amazed at what a community can do.
Thank you for those kind words, and thank you for all your kind words and your time. So now we've shared a bit about health coaching and about who we are. To get a better idea of what it might feel like, we thought it might be helpful to share a little taste of some of the experiential components of health coaching that you could do at home on your own. So first, Leeann will go over the Wheel of Health, a self-reflection exercise. And next, Julie will lead us through a beautiful 15-minute mindful movement time. I suggest gathering 1 to 2 pillows that are full and big and fluffy, something that you might put on your lap and possibly on your head for this exercise. So feel free to take a moment and pause the webinar to go get those pillows. And last, Katherine will lead us in a visualization exercise. So now I'll hand it over to Leeann.
First, I just want to say that you're so much more than neuroendocrine cancer. You're more than this disease. You're more than even your physical body. Yes, a part of you is somebody that has neuroendocrine cancer, but it doesn't have to define you. It's not who you are. Health is not just the absence of disease. It's multifaceted with many pieces and parts and components that make you whole. As a health coach, we see you beyond your disease, and we open up a space for you to self-explore and self-discover and self-assess, to feel some empowerment of where you can gain some control in your health and well-being. You're the expert of your life, and you get to pick an area where you would like to focus. We use this Wheel of Health as a visual and a guide to see the various components of health, the various areas that you can be having some control over your life. We start by discovering areas that you're healthy and where you feel the best about. Where are you doing well? Then you get to identify some areas that you might want to grow. We allow you to rate yourself in each area to see where you are now and where you would like to be. Let's start by kind of diving into this wheel and taking a look at each of the various components. Often we think about self-care and taking care of our bodies with exercise and food. So we'll start there with what you're accustomed to. So movement, exercise, and play. Take some time to assess where you are right now. How are you moving? How often are you moving? And do you enjoy what you're doing? Food and nourishment. What are you putting in your body? What are you doing well? What liquids do you take in? And what's your relationship with food? Moving on to another aspect of health that maybe you haven't thought of before, environment. How does your environment support you? Do you get sunlight, fresh air, window access, time in nature? Does your home feel organized and supportive? Sleep and rest. How many hours do you get? How's the quality? How do you wake up feeling in the morning? Moving on to relationships, the people that you're connected to, the people that support you. Who is your support system? Who is your mentor? Do you want more connection? Do you need to work on an unhealthy relationship? Moving to the mind-body component of your health and well-being. Are you aware of your mind, body, emotions, and how they interact? Some self-care measures you might take in this area are journaling, poetry, mindfulness, yoga, prayer. Finally, moving to spirit and soul. This is that intangible part of yourself. It's the essence of who you are. Are you able to see the meaning and purpose in something greater than yourself? This could be spiritual beliefs, religious affiliation, humanitarian efforts, or connection with nature. Finally, in the center is the compassionate self-awareness. This is how you see yourself in a friendly, curious, non-judgmental way. And over to the right above compassionate self-awareness is daily rhythm and balance. How do each of these components balance out in your life? Is there time for work? Is there time for play? Is there time for sleep and rest? And all the components. How balanced are you in your life? This wheel can be downloaded on the link provided here at the bottom of the page. At the bottom, it's at the health coaching website. So if you'd like to take an assessment on your own, there's a more detailed form asking where you are, where would you like to be. And if you decide to choose to work with a health and wellness coach, we're going to discover what your strengths and values are and dig into that deep intrinsic motivation. What motivates you in life and what matters for your health and your well-being.
So hello. So this portion of our webinar will look at mindful movement. And mindful movement is about bringing awareness to the breath and sensations in the body as it is happening. And it is informed by yoga and other mind-body modalities. By doing this, it might help you become more aware of your body, promote physical and mental well-being, for example, to help reduce stress. So for the next 10 minutes, I invite you to join me in moving with awareness. I will guide you. If at any time it does not feel right, please do not do it. You are in charge, so listen to your body so that it feels good for you. With that being said, I invite you to find a comfortable, steady seat on your chair. So we'll begin by taking a seat on your chair. If you prefer to use the floor, that's fine, but I will cue our movements sitting in the chair. So finding length in the spine from your tailbone all the way up to the crown of your head. Finding that comfortable place with ease, yet alertness. Feeling your feet flat on the floor, grounded, stable. Softening into your shoulders, your hands. They might be resting on your lap. Noticing your jaw, just softening the muscles around your jaw, the muscles around your eyes. And just being here right now. Nowhere else to go, nowhere else to be. Just sitting here, present. And we're taking a moment to notice the breath. Maybe where you feel the breath most prominent. Maybe in the nostrils, the air flowing in and out. It may be at the belly or at the chest. You might place a hand softly at the belly or at the chest just to help you notice the flow of the breath. The full cycle, inhale and exhale as it is happening. Not needing to adjust it in any way, just simply noticing. And if the mind wanders off, that's okay. Just simply noticing the mind is wandering. It's the nature of the mind to go into thought. To just noticing the thought is there, and then without any judgment, just like guiding a puppy, gently bring your awareness back to your breath. Knowing you can do this each time, just beginning again. You might relax your hands back down by your lap. You can keep them at your belly or chest if that helps you notice the breath. But now we'll gently shifting the focus to notice any physical sensations in your body that might be calling your attention. Maybe allowing a few breaths into that area with kindness. And maybe in your mind's eye, thinking, with every inhale, my organs and tissues and cells receive nourishment. And with each exhale, waste, toxins, and tension release from my body. Just a few more breaths here. And now maybe coming a little forward on your seat if you need to, so that you're sitting securely and solidly on your chair and your feet are planted on the floor, slightly wider than your hips. Feeling that tall length of the spine. Taking a few smooth breaths in and out. And begin to circle the torso around your hips in whichever direction suits you best, starting with small circles. Linking the breath to the movement. Your hands might be on your hips, or maybe your hands are resting on your knees or your thighs. You can go bigger with the circles if you'd like. This gives an opportunity to collect information about your body. Just moving half as fast, knowing you'll notice twice as much. Maybe paying attention to areas of tightness or ease. Or are you holding your breath? Just noticing. And when you're ready to switch directions, changing, just moving with awareness. It's like you're stirring the pot, be holding your belly a little towards your spine. This gentle stretching alleviates stiffness. Maybe something you can enjoy. And what would it feel like to let go of what is going on or holding on to? Just letting it be. And then when you come to center, then coming upright, just pausing and feeling in the center. Maybe feeling any energy, sensation, perhaps warmth moving in the back body, from the spine. Just noticing. And then we'll move on to the next movement. So with that tall spine, bring both of your hands to the outside of your right thigh. Inhaling, lengthening the spine. And exhaling, twisting gently to your right. to the first feeling of sensation of a stretch. So not feeling any pain, just feeling that first sensation, relaxing your shoulders, your chin, head pointed in the direction of your chest, the middle of your chest, your sternum. And bringing that awareness of the breath. Maybe you feel the breath into the back body. Maybe a little bit at your left side. Gentle inhale, exhale. With your next exhale, gently coming back to center, resting your hands on your thighs. Just pausing and noticing. And with the tall spine again, bring both of your hands to the outside of your left thigh. Inhaling, lengthening the spine, and exhaling, twisting gently over to the left once again to that first feeling of stretch. Just pausing there. Your head in alignment with your chest. Just relaxing your shoulders down. And tuning into your breath, the cycle of your breath. For a few moments here. Just knowing a gentle twist helps drainage with the lymphatic system. Exhaling, coming back to center. Pausing and feeling. And then with the two pillows that you've gathered for yourself, whether you have one or two pillows, you can bring them now into your lap. And before we go into a forward fold, then you might, if you have a smaller pillow like this, bring it and place it on the top of your head. Just to notice where your body is, your head in alignment with your shoulders over your hips, just to notice and bringing that lengthening, that feeling of length in the spine. You can keep your hands on your pillow if that feels better. And when you have a sense of that nice tall spine, then bring the pillow into your lap. If you don't have a pillow, that's okay. You can start by resting your hands on your thighs or use a table in front of you. Letting your forearms rest on the pillow, palms down. Sitting up, bringing upright, bringing your shoulder blades together. Extending the spine long, as if you're opening the front of the chest. You have the option to elongate the chin up towards the corner where the ceiling meets the wall in front of you. Taking a few breaths here. And then hinging forward from the hips, fold forward any amount and drop your head, let your head drop. Your shoulders are slightly rounded, just for a gentle stretch of the back body. Feeling the support of the pillows and adding more pillows if you want more height. This is just a chance, a moment to slow down and as best as you can in this moment, allowing a smooth breath in, smooth breath out. Resting here. And maybe if it feels right, envisioning something that makes you feel at peace
in your mind's eye. Whether it's a garden full of flowers, or maybe gentle rays of sunshine on your shoulders. Ease of mind, of heart, maybe bringing a smile to your face. And just knowing this is a place you can come back to for rest, but for now, using your breath, slowly inhaling and exhaling, coming up as slow as you can so you do not get dizzy. Sitting tall, feet grounded beneath you, supporting you. And gently opening your eyes, expanding your awareness back to the room around you. You can put the pillows off to the side. And now I invite you to find a movement with your arms that gives you a pleasant feeling of a stretch. It may be different than what I'm doing, so exploring for a few moments what feels good to you. Maybe noticing, has anything changed in your body or with your breath? Sensations arise in whatever we are doing. Just so sensing your posture, how you are moving, making any adjustments that you need, something that might be helpful, and giving yourself kindness along the way. Perhaps you're able to release some tension, letting go as best as you can in this moment. Ease in mind and body. And thanking yourself for taking this moment out for you. Knowing that you are not alone. We are all here for support together. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Julie. That was wonderful. So now we're going to do an experiential exercise called visualization, and this is one of the tools that we use in coaching. So when visualizing, you use all of your senses, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling, to imagine what it would feel like to live your optimal self given your current medical condition. This is the self that you would be if you intentionally made changes over what is in your control and lived according to what is most important to you. So let's go ahead and get started. So I invite you to get into a comfortable position, sitting or lying down, with the floor fully supporting you, so you feel supported and balanced. Gently closing your eyes if you're comfortable, and if not, just softly gazing in front of you. Bringing your attention inward and becoming aware of your breath. So slowly taking a deep breath and feeling the sensations of the air filling your lungs, and then moving down into your abdomen, feeling your stomach expand and contract. And taking 2 or 3 slow, deep breaths. And allowing the breath to relax your body and relax your mind. slowing them down. So that you become more relaxed and calm and still. Now bringing forth into your mind a picture of yourself. You are walking along a path and allowing yourself to follow the path up a hill. The path winds to the right and is going to lead you to your optimal self. And that's your healthiest self possible, given what is currently going on in your life. Living as fully as possible according to what matters most to you. So you walk along this path, and as you walk, you see a basket next to the path. And pausing, you place in the basket anything you have control over that is not currently helpful to you. Anything you need to let go of to reach your optimal self. You keep walking down the path to the right until you reach the end of the path. And you see seated there your optimal self. And then you walk into the future 3 or maybe 4 months, noticing what this optimal self looks like. What do you look like? What do you feel like? Who is around you? Maybe noticing what behaviors you're exhibiting to get yourself to this place of being your optimal self. What strengths of yours are you drawing on as you live in optimal health? Who and what are supporting you? What activities are you participating in? Who are you spending time with? What health habits are you practicing? And what do you notice is bringing you joy? Notice whatever you need to take back with you to reach this state of optimal being. And just being fully present, noticing your energy level, how you move in your body, how you impact those around you that you love, how you are thinking and what you are telling yourself. Anything you need to know to develop the best optimum self possible. Now you take a moment and you ask this self, who is 3 to 4 months in the future, a question. You ask, what do I most need to know to get from where I am today to where you are living as your optimal self? What do I most need to know? And just taking a moment to listen to the answer. And after you have fully absorbed this vision of your optimal self and the answer of what you most need to know, you slowly walk back down the path, noticing along the way anything that is around you that will help you to reach this vision. And knowing in your heart that you are fully capable of living into this vision. And after a while, you reach the hill and you go down back to your original destination. And now slowly becoming aware of your breathing, of the in-breath and the out-breath, of the sensations of the breath in your chest and your abdomen, and coming back into this room and feeling your body on the chair or the floor. And when you are ready, slowly and gently opening your eyes. I'm going to pull some slides up, and I invite you to go ahead and pause this webinar and take a few moments to read these questions and answer 2 or 3 that call to you. And thank you for spending this time with me today.
Thank you, Leeann, Julie, and Katherine, for those beautiful experiential activities. Those were really fun. So now we're going to go into the Q&A section, and I'm going to address some of the frequently asked questions and some of the questions we've received. So the first question is really, who's the best candidate for health coaching? And in order to answer that, let me clarify what health coaching is and what it is not. So starting with what it is not. So in general, it's not about being informational or educational. It's definitely not therapy, counseling, or just someone to talk to. And it's not medical advice or navigation. It's not a place to find resources like diet or exercise. And if you're looking for a trainer or a dietitian to just give you a plan to follow, this is not health coaching. It's not about being told what to do. So a lot of people are looking for, again, a specific plan or advice. It's not directional, like the way we're used to relating to medical providers and even to each other. So oftentimes we might go to someone and ask, what do you think I should eat? Or which net expert should I go see? What's your advice? What's your experience? So in general, the health coach will never say, I would advise you to do this. They will never say, if only you would do this, or you should do this, or in my opinion, you should do this. So what health coaching is it's an opportunity to work on self-care with the guidance of a coach. It's individualized. We don't do group coaching. We don't do couples coaching. It's active on the part of the client. So it's very client-centered. And the coach walks alongside you to learn how to make sustainable behavior change. And that is really not passive, but active, as I just said. And it's client-centered, where the coach supports the client's desires, supports, and vision. The focus is really on what the client wants, what the client already knows, the client's strengths and values, the client's intrinsic motivation. The client makes the action steps and moves towards their own long-term goals that he or she creates. They're not told what to do, and they're definitely not told how to do it. And this process can be really empowering. It can build confidence, and it's transformational. So again, back to the question, who's the best candidate for health coaching? I'm going to go to first answer who are not the ideal candidates for health coaching, specifically in the NET world. So if we look at the slide again, there are certain elements on this slide that answer some of these questions. So for one, there are some people who simply don't have the bandwidth to take on this transformational process at this time. Perhaps they're newly diagnosed and overwhelmed with the amount of information that they're trying to learn. They might be in active treatment and they're just dealing with side effects or recovering from surgery. Or they're simply too busy, just surviving. And perhaps these factors just are too big of a barrier for them to be able to currently do a deeper dive into self-reflection and into transformation. Those people who are needing or seeking individual therapy or couples counseling, they are not good candidates for health coaching. Those looking for support or networking, we have resources for that with LACNETS, and other support and advocacy groups also have resources. For example, with LACNETS, we have NetConnect, which is a program where we can connect you with a peer mentor, someone who's a little further along in the journey that can help provide some support, some networking, and perhaps answer some of your questions. We also meet weekly for LACNETS on Wednesdays for peer support and networking. And for caregivers, we meet once a month. And there are other groups across the country and around the world that meet virtually as well. So those seeking medical advice or seeking help with navigation, again, this is not the place for it. The health coaches through LACNETS don't really delve in this area of NET specific. While they understand that you're living with NET, this is not about navigating your disease or navigating the medical journey. This is really your place to learn how to thrive in being you and what it means to be you as a whole person. Again, those looking for education or resources, we have many resources through LACNETS that we would point you to, such as the webinars, the conferences, our blogs, quizzes, Net Vitals, and many, many more. We can also connect you with other resources. If they're not ones that we could provide, we could point you in another direction to help look for resources, education, even things about NET-specific nutrition, individual counseling through organizations like the Cancer Support Community. And perhaps you might be looking for help in insurance or financial related issues. And for resources such as those, they can all be found on our LACNETS resources page. So who are ideal candidates for health coaching, specifically through the LACNETS health coaching program? Those who are ready to do some personal work with introspection, self-reflection, and they're ready and able to set action steps to move forward in their journey towards thriving. They will need to be able to commit to 8 to 10 individual telephonic sessions with a health and wellness coach. And of course, those living with NET and those partnering in the NET journey, such as a spouse, child, parent, or caregiver, are invited to sign up or explore more if this is right for you. So even though you might be living with a disease, and even though there are ups and downs in the treatment plan and in the journey, we hope that this will be empowering for you. How might you receive health coaching? In other words, how might you partner with a health and wellness coach? So now we've talked all about health coaching and you're excited and interested. So there are 3 things that come to mind. The first, if you're a Southern California NET patient or caregiver, you can explore and learn more on our website, www.lacnets.org/health coaching, to find out more. LACNETS has generously offered a series of one-on-one telephonic coaching sessions of 8 to 10 sessions to NET patients and caregivers. Now, this is exclusively for Southern California NET patients or caregivers only, and there are limited spots. So you can go on our website to find out more and to sign up. So the next option that comes to mind, if you're not living in Southern California, or you're not living with NET, or you're not an NET caregiver, anyone who's interested could sign up for free health coaching with a student trainee of the Vanderbilt Health Coaching Program, the same program that Katherine, Leeann, Julie, and myself all trained through. And how you can do that is email at this email below, healthcoaching@vumc.org, with a subject line, free health coaching, to be connected with a trainee. And again, that is a free health coaching as well. They may not have NET-specific knowledge, but it is offered free of charge. Third is that you can go on the website for the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches, and you could find a board-certified health coach, whether in your area or someone that you would like to connect to, and you can hire a health and wellness coach. And as always, feel free to reach out to us anytime with any questions that you might have, concerns, or if you would like more information. It is our hope to see you thrive, whether you're a patient, caregiver, or anyone else in the community. And we want to thank all of you today for tuning in. Again, this has been an area that has been a dream and a passion of mine to help people in this community to thrive. And I'm so excited to share this topic with you today. Just a reminder that this webinar can be viewed again on our YouTube channel. And follow us on our social media and sign up for our newsletter so you can hear about the updates and events in the NET community. Thank you to our supporters, sponsors, and to Rich Tamayo at TVP Live for making this webinar possible. So long and see you next time.